Your customers are also your colleagues, and a credit union has to service them basically through their work cycle and their life cycle. So how can you use automation to actually improve their lives?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So our customers are actually our members. So as a credit union, our members own our business. And so when you think about that and you put that in perspective, I'm a member, maybe some of you are members, other state employees of North Carolina are members. I would tell you that the pandemic taught us a lot about what we were really good at and what we weren't. And what we realized is that self-service capabilities, the ability to do predictive analytics, to understand where our members need to be serviced, what their needs are financially in their different stages of life, that really taught us that, hey, this is something that we need to focus on. I would tell you quite candidly, we have some steps we need to take to get there, but that is a journey that we are embarking on, is how do we better empower our members to leverage technology so they can live a better day-to-day life.
So Bryson, at Equifax, your customer base is different. It's huge, first of all. You hold the data of tens of millions of people, and it would seem Equifax would really need automation to manage that much data. How do you use automation?
So it's a really critical part. I mean, around the world, about 880 million people are who we work with to help them live their financial best. And, as a part of that journey, 125,000 of them a day reach out, have a question, need to submit information, work with us around the world. So 25,000 pieces of mail as an example. Just sorting through that, making sure it's getting to the right place, making sure it's being handled timely, making sure that all of that data flowing in gets appropriately updated. And so we use automation across all of our, contact center, support cases. We use automation, whether it's in the voice channel or on the web or on the paper. There's still a lot of paper in our industry. And so we have a lot of work that goes on there.
I want to ask you both more about what you do day to day in your businesses. And Bryson, I'm going to stay with you for a moment here. People associate Equifax with your credit rating. Usually you're contacted by them, you're asked to look it up. But this is actually just a small part of your business. Can you tell us more about what Equifax is doing and the range of businesses it has to accomplish?
Yeah, so Equifax is a global company. We operate in about 26 countries around the world. We obviously have our core credit business, but we also extend that into our income and employment verification services, which helps people access benefits. Are you eligible for this benefit, this government program, whatever it is? We have a rich identity and fraud product portfolio, helping make sure that the identification of that person, that place, that thing is accurate. That helps us in fraud detection, whether that's identity fraud or money laundering or any of those types of activities. Collections and recoveries, helping businesses make sure that they're going after the right debt, and using all of the data we collect and the signals that come in really fundamentally to help people make a smarter decision.
Josh, what are the big business challenges that you have to do? What is the greatest needs of your member base?
Yeah, so I think for us, being a finance institution, it varies. Each of our members have different needs, different impacts, different stages of life, and for us, it's understanding when and where they need to be served. And for me, I think we pride ourselves on great member experience. Above all, all the financial services that we provided, you can get that at a lot of different places. But for us, where we differentiate ourselves is that experience. And where we want to leverage some of the data and automation is to, when members interact with any of our channels, whether it's tactile in the branch, whether it's through our digital channels, is they need to have a tailored experience versus just kind of a one-size-fits-all. You log in, everybody gets the same vanilla experience. So that is one of the challenges we're figuring out is, when somebody interacts with us, regardless of the channel, how do we give them an experience that feels tailored to their needs, their stage of life, and do predictive of how they evolve to that next stage of life?
You both oversee technology, implementing technology, managing technology in companies. Bryson, I always ask businesses, especially the people in charge of doing this, about pushback, because new things are always difficult. And I have joked that with automation, it's scary and there's a lot of no's at first, and then soon people wonder how they ever managed without it. So I want to ask you about how you overcome pushback in trying to implement more and more automation into your business.
So at Equifax, luckily, we've been going through a very large-scale cloud transformation over the last 4 years, which has really, I think, brought a lot of comfort across the entire executive team around the benefits of change. Starting to see examples, where we bring AI into our credit decisioning capabilities. We've seen a 50% reduction in bad debt, a 26% increase in approvals to the right people for the right, lending activity. Those are real outcomes to real consumers that really benefit not just us as a, population, but the business as well. And as you demonstrate those and you can then repeat that, you build confidence. And so start small, get some wins, and then continue to build on those wins and just demonstrate that that investment in not just the tech, because the tech's the easy part, the people side, the culture side, just how you change the mindset of how the business goes about thinking about itself, the product lines, the product portfolios, all of that work is way more complicated to change than the technology. And so it just takes time. It's a constant people-involved change management process. To our change management consultant.
Who is smiling right there and giving a thumbs up.
Did I say that okay? Did I get that? Okay, good.
The consultant speak. So 880 million customers. Josh, I want to know more about the State Employees Credit Union. First of all, how many members do you have?
We have 2.6 million members, all focused locally here in North Carolina.
All right. And I want to ask you, you have a smaller team, obviously, than Equifax, but again, the same challenges. How do you overcome pushback when you say, we want to introduce these new systems of automation in order to manage everything better?
Yeah, so that's really the trick. Bryson said it very well. It's, machines do what we tell them to do. It's the people that tend to be problematic. And we all embrace change. We will all say that we're great change agents. You talk to folks, I embrace change, I'm up for it, until your world changes. Then all of a sudden you're thinking, I thought we had this together. And so changing that mindset, I think as Bryson mentioned, you gotta have some quick wins. When you are embarking on transformation, and for our organization, we are just now underway on transforming a lot of what we do and how we deliver our services, you gotta show and demonstrate success to get that buy-in. I could spend all day, I have a few colleagues here with me, we could spend all day talking about how great day 2 is going to be after the change is involved. But until they see it, and it could be tactile, and they can appreciate what we've gone through, it's really for nothing. So those small, quick wins, you build momentum, you build steam, and then you continue on.
I want to ask you more about some of the specific challenges that you face. Josh, you're in a business that you never lose the customer, you never lose the member, because even after they stop working, they still need your services. It's not like another business where you may attract the customer for a certain amount of time or a certain life cycle. So that is also something that you need to work at to tailor someone at the very start of their career and even in their retirement. That's a big lift.
Yeah, and I would say, so we have a really great, loyal membership base. However, there's competitors left and right. So as a credit union, we provide all the same services that a lot of the big banks offer. And while we have a very loyal, dedicated membership, they are all getting service elsewhere, whether it's lending, credit cards, their daily deposit. The question is how many and what percentage are we top of wallet? Are we a primary account? And so for us, that is the business struggle. Obviously, we want to grow, we want to advance, we want to increase our membership, we want to serve more throughout North Carolina. We also want to provide that value so we can have, be top of wallet, be more interactive with our membership, provide those services that some of our competitors are offering to help close and bridge that gap.
And Bryson, you have a challenge in that Equifax is not just in the US, you're an international company. Is it correct, at least 25 countries? How broad are you?
26 countries around the world, and that each country has its own regulations, each country has its own requirements for how data is managed, how consumers are interacted with, and how they're cared for. And if you look at our process automation, I think we have over 550 bots today. And that vastness is caused by the differences that are required on how we handle and manage things around the world very differently, country by country.
Can you dig into that a little bit deeper for the people that are joining us today that do have international businesses, that are doing businesses abroad? How can you use automation in order to make sure that everything is being done properly in different countries?
So it requires a balance of kind of your central team, if you will, that has expertise in the technology and in the capabilities and how you bring, data together, build the bot, train the model, whatever it is you're working on from an expertise perspective, but then that local knowledge. It does require getting all the way down to that last mile and making sure that the local teams, and so, there's technology teams in each of our countries that really understand that last mile, that provide that oversight and governance checks to make sure that we're bringing in whatever that local regulation is or the local customs are, and those change every day. There's somewhere around 200 regulatory bodies around the world. If you add them all up, and that means a lot of change for all of us, right? And so depending upon the number of countries you operate in, the level of complexity, the pace of change, keeping up with it, understanding the spirit of the regulation versus the letter of the regulation, and all of these things require a lot of local nuance.
Mm-hmm. I know that I keep hearing the same problems with every interview that I do, and I'm going to guess that many of you face the same problems. Number one, hiring enough people to manage business and using AI so that it looks seamless to the customer, because the customer really doesn't care if you don't have one or two positions filled. They want the phone answered. They want their task done. Something else that we hear about are increasing fears about security of data. And you both work in businesses that deal with data. You're not pushing out a specific product that sits on a table. You have information. So Josh, I'm going to ask you first about how you are using automation or new technologies to manage those things. I know it's a double-sided question, so you can answer as you wish.
Yeah, and so that's the balance that I think we're all facing is how do we implement these new innovative products, solutions, while maintaining that safety and soundness. As I tell my team, we're going to go embark and we're going to do things that our organization's never done. We want to be on the cutting edge of technology, but the security is a given. We will not forego security. For us, with financial data, we have a lot of regulations, not necessarily the complexities of international, but for membership, consumer, financial, credit, lending, there's a lot of regulations that we need to ensure. And then from a privacy and security standpoint, we have a really big obligation to our membership. And so when you think about all the data that's out there that we would have to comb and mine, a manual process, an army of the best security engineers out there could never compete with good, solid process automation, log aggregation. And so for us, it's where can we move and shift the load and burden of reviewing logs, putting together different sort of process analysis, some threat detections, and allow the human, right, our most valuable asset, to focus on the high-touch, critical factors within security, and let them leverage that skill set to go ensure here, allow the machines to kind of do the heavy lifting to mine and get through the data.
As Chief Information Officer and dealing with the technology, what is your biggest fear day to day? What is the biggest problem? What is the nightmare you want to avoid?
I'm limited to just one.
Oh, you know what? We have around the audience. Share your biggest nightmares. Multiple.
So I think, people's the number one concern, because all the problems that we may face, there's people are here to help solve those issues. Any obstacle that we may run into, we need really good people, really strong people. Talent pool and the war for talent, especially in the Raleigh area, this is our hometown as well. It's pretty tricky. I think it's really good. I love the healthy competition. I think the workforce having many options, being able to work remote is great. Healthy competition is only going to breed better incentives for our organization and for everyone else. So I think the people aspect is probably the largest. The cliche is security. Nobody wants to be involved in any sort of security breach and things like that. So that's really concerning. But I would say our people and having that change mindset and being able to navigate through some of our transformations.
Bryson, same question to you. Day to day, you oversee a lot. You do technology, data analytics. What is your biggest nightmare that you don't want to see when you wake up in the morning or be woken up with at night?
Absolutely. Security first. I think uptime, latency. Second, we're in the runtime of a lot of transaction flow around the world. So that uptime and that latency is really important. And innovation. How do we make sure that even in a highly regulated space with all of the security mindset that we have, that we continue to push and drive innovation? Because as I just was talking a minute ago about, we can make one change and improve people's lives. You improve 26% of your approval rate by introducing a new score to the market. That's a big deal, and we take that seriously. And how do we do more of that? And you have a lot of factors that are always competing against that speed of innovation, and so trying to balance that is something we spend a lot of time working through.
Could I also have you address what Josh was talking about of using increasing automation in this day and age when it's so hard to find enough people to take the jobs that were managing that information even just last year or the year before?
The people side of this has always been hard. It's certainly increasingly difficult in today's world, post-pandemic, and what does everybody really expect from a work-life balance and the skill set. We attract great talent because we've been, I think, on the leading side in the financial services space around our cloud transformation. So we've been working with very advanced technologies that are really helping people continue to improve their own skills. And I always tell my team, one of the 3 things that I try to do as a leader is to make you more employable. Now there's 2 sides to that. I want you to stay more employable with me, but I have to kind of take a little bit of a risk that investment in you is something that will attract more talent. And so we've spent a lot of time on the cloud certification and cloud skills and investing in our team to try to continue to attract and importantly retain the talent. We all live in a very complicated world. I think the ramp up time of a new person becoming truly productive just continues to increase. I think it used to be maybe a month, and then it was 2 months, and then 3, and then now it's 6, and now it's really like 9. And it just, for somebody to truly be productive, I mean, the turnover rates are certainly impactful to all of our businesses.
One more quick question for you. Do you think automation has helped make your employee base happier?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you think about where we deployed work around the world, whether it was our center in Costa Rica or in India or in Chile or here in the US or wherever it is, we've continuously been able to raise the type of work and the skill set required within those teams, because we're automating, as the first panel talked about, some of the more rudimentary activities, which now means that we can upskill and constantly groom and grow the teams to work on more important and I think thought-provoking type tasks, which is good. And so we're doing that. That creates a lot of engagement with our teams around the world, and we're just going to continue to demonstrate that we're going to use the machines to augment as much as we can on the stuff that is really the back office functions, and then take that talent and continue to bring them more and more to the front office side of what we do.
Josh, same question to you. Unlike Equifax, which is managing those teams in Costa Rica and Chile and such, you actually look at your teams. You can see their faces. Do you believe automation has made them happier?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're still kind of embarking on that journey, but I think where we have deployed it, it does. The people are resistant at first. The cliche is, hey, there's automation, I'm going to lose my job. Then we calmly explain, no. We are going to take the low-value transactions, let a machine aid you in that, and then shift our human talent to focus on the high-value transactions. Those are going to be more meaningful interactions with our members, with our employees. That is where you shift the focus and people start to see the value. Becoming a shop that's going to focus on and leverage automation, does that mean you reduce headcount? It means you empower our teams to go have those meaningful, high-value transactions, again, whether it's interacting with a member or just trying to solve some of our business problems.
And when you think about like the journey, if you take somebody that 7 years ago was just working on kind of a rudimentary task, and then the next thing they were doing was learning how to build a bot, or an automation bot. And then the next thing that they were doing was working in, say, a tech operations center. And then the next thing that they were doing was learning, Java. And then the next thing they were, before they knew it, 7 years has gone by, and now they're a system reliability engineer. They've completely changed their own personal career trajectory. It's just awesome.
I share your same philosophy, is where I want our staff to be recruited from the best in the triangle and throughout the nation. I want a staff that everybody wants to attract, and they choose to stay for what we're doing. I don't know anybody in the room that doesn't want to work with really, really smart people. I do. I want to surround myself with the smartest people I can find, which means in order to do that, your name has to get out there. To become a preferred employer in your given domain, you need to work elsewhere. And they need to hear, wow, this individual worked at SECU? That's great. Maybe I'll give them a look. And then eventually, over time, you start that influx of having talent come in and talent come out. It's just the natural ebb and flow.
We are down to our last couple minutes of this panel, so I want to briefly ask both of you. You have used automation efficiently to date. You both have businesses that have become ever more efficient. What are you looking to on the horizon? What are you hoping that automation will accomplish for you looking ahead?
For me, I think it's going to be free up our best and brightest to go focus on those meaningful transactions. We are embarking on a ton of transformative initiatives that we're going to be looking to run in sequence in parallel. And those things are going to be complex, and we need the minds of our best and brightest to focus on that. And so when you free up some of those mundane, rudimentary sort of tasks, you free up your human capital to go focus on those things. And I think that's the story and the journey that we're trying to tell is, hey, when you used to go process 1, 2, 3, I've done it for 10 years, I've gotten very comfortable with that. And hey, we're gonna have a machine do that. And you're so valuable to us, we're gonna have you shift your focus to go solve this complex problem. That is where we're kind of heading towards.
Very quickly, are you able to build a lot of this internally, or do you look elsewhere outside to have people come in to help you do this?
Yeah, I think for us, we have a fairly large technology staff, but what I would like to do is I always focus on, hey, what is the best in breed, best in the market? There is little value for us to go and recreate the wheel. And so where there's the solutions out there, we partner. We'll partner, we'll integrate. For me, I want to become really world-class integration teams. And where it makes sense to augment our business and our technology to go build in-house, we will do the same.
Bryson, same question for you. Automation is changing business every day. What are you looking to on the horizon for the problems that you need to solve?
I want to take what we're doing kind of to automate the back office and bring it forward and make it more prescriptive. You think about what we can see now and what the machines see in terms of the workloads that they're handling. How do you get to a day where I get the push notification that says, hey, Bryson, we noticed something that may be wrong. Would you like for us to go ahead and fix this for you so that you don't even have to contact us in the first place? We've got something called optimal path, which is helping consumers understand out of the myriad of choices around which bill to pay or what loan to pay off or what credit limit to have, that we can help guide them to make the right decisions to help them live their financial best. And so I think bringing it more into the actual consumer experience, making it more forecasted for the future is really going to be powerful.
Josh, Bryson, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and experience with us. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks.